Hello there. Today I will be ranking all of our players from who I think is most likely to win, to least likely, in a tier list. This will be based on how their game is looking going into next week, their potential long-term prospects, and how I think the edit is factoring into their chances to win or go far. This ranking is my own personal opinion, and will probably change massively from week to week, but these are my thoughts after episode 2. I also want to point out that tiers are not ordered in any particular way. The person voted out this week was Marya, who unfortunately went home despite her great story. I think what I said last week is what happened for Marya. She was perceived to be weaker in challenges, so she was ultimately voted out for it. She was correct in playing her shot in the dark advantage though, which was a good read from her, but unfortunately for her it didn't work out. D tier this week is for players who I see have very little chance of winning, and will likely leave the very game soon. First in the D tier this week is Marianne, who drops from the C tier from last week. As likable as she is, Marianne is in a terrible position on the Taku tribe. She is clearly on the bottom, so I would be very worried for her if she goes home. The best chance for Marianne at this point is to try and find an idol, or play her shot in the dark successfully, or else it is looking bad for her. If she can get to a swap or merge, then I think her likability could propel her far in the game. She just has to get to that point. C tier this week is for players who I either see little chance of winning the game, or could leave soon. First in the C tier this week is Tori, who remains in the C tier from last week. After being a target in the premiere, it seems like Tori has found some solid footing in the tribe, with Drea offering her to be in an all-girls alliance. She also seems to have the trust of Swati, who wants to target Draya instead of Tori. Not being an immediate target is great for Tori, but she is still in a troubling position because there were still talks of her being a potential target. However, things are looking up for Tori, so I am interested in how she does going forward, and who she works with. Second in the C tier this week is Rocksroy, who rises from the D tier. Last week, I foresaw that Rocksroy would be an early target on the Ika tribe, but that does not seem to be the case. With Drea and Tori being more pressing targets, Rocksroy looks like he should be safe for at least the next few tribals. It still is worrying that Drea was willing to target him in the premiere, and is willing to form a new alliance without him, so the Ika tribe will be interesting to watch moving forwards because of this. Our next C tier this week is Lydia, who falls from the C tier from last week. Lydia's drop in tiers this week is not because of her own game, but because of the others around her. This was a very quiet episode from Lydia, while the rest of Lydia's tribe seems to have more information and alliances. This makes me believe that Lydia is on the bottom and on the outs with her tribe, which worries me if Vati goes to tribal council. I could be wrong however, so time will tell. Last in the C tier this week is Drea, who drops from the S tier from last week. I had Drea in the S tier because she seemed to be in a great position in her tribe with multiple advantages to back her up, but it seems she is playing too hard too quickly. She is now a target of Swati, and by extension the whole tribe. We will see if Drea can recognize she is in trouble, or is able to leverage her advantages for power, as I think Drea has potential as a player if she can make it far. B tier this week is for players who I think have a good chance to win, but have some flaws in their game that are holding them back, or are just overall middling. First in the B tier this week is Jenny, who rises from the C tier. Last week I was worried that Jenny would be a target as a result of going to the Shipwheel Island by herself, but it seems like that is not the case. This was an overall quiet episode from Jenny, but we saw Mike tell Jenny that he has the idol, showing that she has trust there, while also gaining knowledge of who has the immunity idol and its downsides. Overall I could see Jenny going far in the game or leaving relatively soon, so time will tell for her. Next in the B tier is Lindsay, who remains in the B tier from last week. Lindsay is in a decent position in her tribe, and is not looking like she will be a target should Taku lose the next immunity challenge. She also has the amulet advantage, which could benefit her father in the game if others are voted out. One downside for Lindsay is that Omar and Jonathan are in a tight duo, so I think she would be the next to go after Marianne if it gets to that point. Taku does seem to be strong in challenges, so she should be in a fine spot for some time, but we will see. Next in the B tier is Hai, who falls from the A tier from last week. Hai drops a tier this week for similar reasons that Lydia dropped this week. The rest of the tribe seems to have more information than they do, which is a detriment to their games. High does have the amulet advantage, which could be helpful if need be, but we need more time to see High's place in the tribe and his potential. Next in the B tier this week is Romeo, who drops from the A tier from last week. This was a quiet episode from Romeo, and his drop is mostly attributed to Draya being willing to flip on their alliance. While Romeo is not an immediate target, I am unsure of how safe he is in the short term with his allies turning on him. Fortunately for Romeo, the target seems to be Drea, so he could be immediately safe, but his future in the game is worrying. Last in the B tier this week is Mike, who drops from the S tier along with Drea. Mike suffers a big fall this week primarily because he lost his right to vote at tribal council until the merge. It is good for his game in the long term to have an idol, but unfortunately it means that he has to tell multiple people on the tribe to keep himself safe. Because of this, Jenny, Daniel and Chanelle know about the idol, limiting its effectiveness if Mike wanted to use it. This could also mean that Mike could be a boot in coming tribals. If Mike can get to the merge, or activate his idol, then I think he has a great chance of going far with his allies and potentially winning. He just needs to get there. A tier this week is for players who aren't looking like they will go home soon, and have solid chances to win the game. First in the A tier this week is Swati, who rises from the B tier from last week. Swati is a player we haven't seen too much of, but from what we know she is in a good position on her tribe. She has an option of working with Drea and Tori if she wants, but also looks like she has a good relationship with Rocksroy. Because of this, it seems like it is Swati's call on who goes home, which is looking to be Drea, but it could be anyone. Swati seems like she should be safe for some time, and I can see her going deep into the game. Next in the A tier this week is Chanelle, who rises from the C tier from last week. This week we saw Chanelle and Daniel's alliance be reinforced, something that I was more unsure of last week. Because of this, Chanelle was told by Daniel about Mike's idol and its drawbacks, giving her knowledge to work within the game, and also letting her know how idols work this season. While Chanelle has been on the quieter side this season, I can see her lasting a while into the game, which is a good look for her winning chances. Last in the A tier this week is Jonathan, who rises from the B tier from last week. I was unsure based on the first episode how smart of a player Jonathan would be, but it seems that he is an overall smart player based on what he has told us in confessionals. He is also benefited by being in a great spot on his tribe, being aligned with Lindsay and Omar, which means he should not be going home anytime soon barring a swap. I am still worried about Jonathan being seen as a physical threat post-merge, but if he can play well with his allies then he has a good chance of going far into the game. S tier this week is for players who are in great positions, aren't likely to leave anytime soon, and also have a great chance to win in my opinion. First in the S tier this week is Daniel, who rises from the B tier from last week. Daniel has a solid relationship with seemingly almost everyone on his tribe, which allows him to be in a great position going forward. His relationship with Mike allowed him to gain knowledge on Mike's idol, which is great for his game, as he can use that information and decide how to move forward with it. His relationship with Chanelle gives him a solid partner to strategize with, as well as giving him someone to protect him if need be. We also saw Daniel comfort High over being vegan, showing that he is playing a good social game on the island as well as a good strategic game. Overall, Daniel is in a great spot for going farther into the game and I expect he has a good chance to win. The second S tier this week and the last player on our list is Omar, who rises from the B tier from last week. Omar is a player who seems smart based on what we have seen and others have said about him, which I like in a player. He is in a great spot on his tribe, being in a tight duo with Jonathan, which means for the short term there is little chance he will go home. While his duo partner Jonathan might be seen as a physical threat down the line in the merge, Omar is much less outwardly threatening, which means I think he will go far into the game. We will see if others pick up on Omar's threat, because if not Omar could easily win this game. There is my current tier list of who I think is most likely to win and make it far. Keep in mind that these are just my opinions, and I am unspoiled this season, and this is very subject to change. We will see if anyone else will be able to rise to the S tier, and I am interested to see how the rest of the season will shake out. Thanks for watching.